And a warm welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Melinda Akimani. Coming up on the program today, the Concerned Citizens Group suspends its sit-out at the Unity Fountain in Abuja. Court rules on billionaire kidnappers' fundamental rights suit. And ASUU strike enters a third day. Members, you see, there are from a group called Concerned Nigerians, led by foremost entertainer Charlie Boy. They have suspended their sitting at the Unity Fountain in Abuja. The group started its campaign 9 days ago, calling on President Muhammadu Buhari to resume from his medical vacation or resign. The decision to stop the protest comes a day after the group was attacked at the Wuse market in Abuja. Meanwhile, another group called the Niger Delta Youths marched on the streets of the FCT in support of the president, describing calls for his resignation as unpatriotic. The group was received by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. The Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, CACOL, has asked the federal government to urgently address the circumstances that led to the indefinite strike by the Association of Staff Union of Universities, ASUU. CACOL believes the present scenario could have been avoided if the past and present governments had been responsible enough to abide with the agreement signed in 2009. The crux of the matter, according to the agency, is that government has failed in its responsibility and constitutional role to ensure that qualitative and accessible education is guaranteed for all. The statement comes as the strike enters a third day. There is a need to change the existing leadership order in the country because it has created a disconnect between the political elite and citizens. In its place should be a redirection of the resources invested in political discourse to address economic inequalities. These are some of the ideas raised by a former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, who wants a better commitment from the government for transformative development.
A disruptive phenomenon is the only process that can take Nigeria out of the lowest equilibrium that it finds comfort in being at. The specific nature of the disruption, therefore, that I am calling for is one which is triggered by a new awakening on the part of the citizens to demand for a new deal. It is to enforce the retirement of the existing political class and to change the structure and the substance of the conversation that we must have to chart a new trajectory. It is time for citizens to organize a collective action that can produce success. It means reaching across the many known divides often exploited by the better organized political class, and to unite in reversing the economics of failure that they have produced.
To legal matters now, the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ruled that the fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by suspected kidnapper Evans can proceed. Justice Abdulaziz Anka dismissed the objections raised by counsel to some of the respondents that they had not been properly served. Evans' application challenges his continued detention since June the 10th without an arraignment. He claims that his parade before a journalist by the Lagos State Police Command without a court order is illegal. He wants the court to award him 300 million naira as damages for his detention and the harm caused by his media trial. Security matters now. Police authorities in Borno State have confirmed the death of at least 16 people in 3 suicide attacks in Maiduguri, the state capital. The first was at a mini motor park in Kanduga village, while 2 others occurred in front of an IDP camp. The Borno State Police Commissioner Damian Chukwu confirmed the incident and says 84 people sustained injuries. Our correspondent Blessing Tuno confirmed that the sound of rocket-propelled grenades heard all through the night in neighboring Molai town was a military exercise and not an attack on the community.
43 out of the over 80 persons injured in the bomb explosion in Konduga yesterday were brought in here with various degrees of injuries for treatments. Some of them have already undergone surgery, and we are told by the hospital authorities that they are stable and recovering. The hospital facility is, however, overstretched, which is why some of them have either been discharged or referred to the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital for further treatments. From Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, Blessing Tuno, Channels Television News.
The headquarters of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in Abuja came under attack by gunmen this morning. Although the assailants were repelled by security operatives on duty, they did not leave without dropping a death note for one of the anti-graft agency's detectives. The EFCC spokesman, Wilson Owojare, who confirmed the incident in a statement, says that it has already been reported to the police. Part of his statement reads, and I quote, "The group of heavily armed bandits invaded the office at about 5 a.m. and began shooting into the premises, damaging vehicles parked in the process. The hoodlums escaped in a getaway vehicle, but not without leaving a message in a white envelope." He added that the attack is coming a few weeks after another investigator, Austin Okor, was shot and injured by unknown assailants in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The General Court-Martial of the Nigerian Air Force has sentenced aircraftman Bernard Kalu to death by hanging for killing his girlfriend and colleague, Sholape Oladipupo. He was handed the penalty after the defense team failed to prove Kalu's innocence in the murder of aircraftwoman whom he alleged was cheating on him. The defense intends to appeal that judgment.
The court has not evaluated the evidence before her properly. The case of the defense is not considered by the court. And in our own very candid opinion, the decision of this honorable court needs to be tested, and surely we are going to move to the Court of Appeal to consider this decision of this honorable court today. And definitely this is tentative to the confirmation by the convening authority.
There seems to be no end in sight to the face-off between two communities in Akukutoru local government area of Rivers State and the Shell Petroleum Development Aid Company, SPDC, over allegations of environmental neglect. Days after staging a protest, residents of the communities have continued to hold prayer sessions and meetings at the OML 25 flow facility, disrupting production in the process. Meanwhile, the SPDC, in a statement, dismisses the allegation by the communities, insisting that it had invested massively in development projects in the area.
This action, as you see, is a clear indication that the people are fed up with the circumstance they find themselves. The antecedents of SPDC's operation has exacerbated oporombium based on the contumelious stratagems these companies are applying to sanctuarize the economy of these people.
Our experience with SPDC is continual degradation of our land and human existence, giving rise to migration to the cities. All we are now saying is no to SPDC divestment to Cresta and no to Shell operating in our area.
Coming up on the program, the Ogun State government is making moves to boost agriculture by giving loans to farmers. We'll give you more details in a moment. Join us again.